This is Father Dominic Holtz coming to you from Rome, Italy, with a word of hope for Tuesday of the third week of Lent. A lot of people will often ask the question, how do I forgive? How can I be forgiving? The Gospel puts a pretty strong insistence on forgiveness today, telling us not to forgive merely 7 times, but 77 times for a single injury done to us. And that seems a pretty tall order, especially when a lot of us really have a hard time feeling tender, happy, reconciled thoughts about people who have done us wrong. I think here we're confusing two things, forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is a matter of our decision in the end. It's not about warm feelings towards someone, although those help. It's not about finally having a way to have dealt with all the injury we've received, although that certainly helps also. But to forgive is to pass over an injury, is to decide not to hold an injury that we've been done against the person who inflicted it upon us. It's a decision of generosity, to show goodness where quite possibly there is no goodness, to pass over the evil so that the other person can perhaps grow in love. Now, it's a very different consideration from two things. On the one hand, it's not the same thing as feeling warmly about the other person, or wanting to hang around them, or basically pretending like the past never happened. It's none of those at all. To forgive is to decide not to hold a sin or injury against someone. Now, reconciliation is something else. While forgiveness is unilateral, I can forgive even if the other person remains in his sins, remains opposed to me. But I can't reconcile unless both parties, I and the one who injured me, are willing to come together for common cause. Now, to be sure, the saving work of Jesus Christ is ultimately seeking reconciliation, our reconciliation with one another and our reconciliation with God. But forgiveness is the first step. In order to be reconciled with one another, we can't keep holding those injuries and faults against each other. We can't treat each other poorly, treat each other, in fact, perhaps as we deserve, if we want to grow in love with one another, if we want not just ourselves, but everyone else to have a chance to be the best person they can be, to grow in love with their fellow men and women, and most especially with God. This is why forgiveness is so crucial. It's the first step that we can help those who have injured us come back to begin the steps towards reconciliation. And it's also how we reconcile to God, by becoming more like God, who shows forgiveness even where it is not at all deserved. We reconcile ourselves to God, who has reconciled us to Him through the work of Jesus Christ. And that, my brothers and sisters, is a word of hope.